I'm Alex Michelson. This week, the issue is reopening California, and the celebration is on. Cheers as the clock struck midnight and California's mask mandate and capacity limits went away. But where do we go from here? With us, former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer, one of Governor Newsom's top Republican challengers in the recall election. Plus, Politico's Carla Marinucci and Jeremy B. White standing by to offer insights and analysis. And oh yeah! In a year of political roller coaster rides, we go on an actual roller coaster ride with the governor himself. The Issue Is starts right now.
Broadcasting across California, California's only statewide political show. You're watching The Issue Is.
And welcome to The Issue Is on a historic week here in California. I'm Alex Michelson, and we've got a guest in the house for the first time in studio is Kevin Faulconer, the former mayor of San Diego, now one of the top candidates running against Governor Newsom in the recall election. Mr. Mayor, welcome in studio for
Alex,
the first time.
It's good to be with you. Yeah. Thank you.
We appreciate, this is a big week in California. June 15th is sort of the reopening for many parts of the economy. We saw Governor Newsom out with trolls, out on roller coasters. He was making pizza this week, all sorts of activities. Is there, what do you make of all of this, and is there reason to celebrate?
Well, look, I don't think what Californians are looking for is a circus mentality. I think, when it comes to overcoming COVID-19, it's not just about reopening. I think it's about reforming and rebuilding. And that's why I'm focused a lot on particularly the rebuilding of our state, the rebuilding of our small businesses. And, as we look at what happened with this governor's unscientific lockdowns, how that really devastated our small businesses is just one example. It's time to rebuild.
So when you say rebuild, what exactly do you mean? What does that look like from a policy perspective?
Well, it's starting to rebuild our economy, right? It's starting to make sure that we're giving our small businesses the help and the support that they need. It's time to actually ensure that our public schools are fully reopened, which they haven't been. And I think that's been a real travesty for every parent in California that our private schools have been open. Why? Because those schools, report to parents, but yet our public schools that ultimately report to the governor have not remained fully open. We have to change that.
But aren't all the schools set to fully reopen in the fall?
Well, we'll see. They should have been open this last semester. And I think, Alex, I say this not just as a candidate for governor, but as a dad with two kids in public school who realizes that there's no substitute for a teacher in the classroom rather than Zoom. Our kids should have been in school this last semester.
Let's talk about the biggest issue for so many people. It was the biggest issue before COVID, the biggest issue after COVID, which is homelessness in California. Your governor tomorrow, executive order number 1 is what?
Oh, we have to get people off the sidewalks. As mayor of San Diego, I did not allow tent encampments in San Diego. We were the only big city where we actually reduced homelessness by double digits. I fundamentally believe that every human being has a right to shelter. I also believe that when we provide that shelter, they have an obligation to use it. I enforced that obligation in San Diego. And so we have to take that same approach, and I will as governor. And the reason I feel so strongly about this is because if you allow tent encampments on a sidewalk, you're condemning people to die on our sidewalks. We're better than that as Californians. We proved in San Diego that we could do it. Again, actually reducing homeless. We have to take that same compassionate yet firm approach statewide.
So how do you actually do that? Is that going to be a mandate from you as governor that there's no more encampments allowed in the state? Legally, can you even do that?
I will absolutely put forward legislation, again, that says that you have to provide shelter and then have the obligation to enforce that. And we provided a shelter network in San Diego. I picked the locations as mayor, and I made a deal with the community. I said it's going to be cleaner and safer in this neighborhood with this shelter than before it was there. And I felt so strongly about that I created a new division within the San Diego Police Department, Neighborhood Policing Division, that really helped enforce our quality of life.
If some of these places say you're criminalizing homelessness, we don't agree with that, we don't want to do that, what do you do if you're governor?
Well, some folks said that when we started what we did in San Diego. And I think we've proven that wrong. Again, why? Because we care about people enough not to let them die in unsafe, unclean, unsanitary tent encampments on our sidewalks. I did not allow those in San Diego. And when people saw the difference when they saw people not only go into the shelter, but then getting that help and the support to get that apartment of their own. You can throw all the money in the world at this issue, but if you don't have the political will to make a difference, it's not going to change.
Well, and speaking of the political will, though, if you come in and you're governor of California, you're going to have a Democratic supermajority who are probably not going to want to see you succeed. You're not going to have a term for very long, like potentially less than a year. And so they might just sit on their hands and say, we don't want to work with this guy. We're going to be able to get our own guy in a few months. What do you do in that scenario? How do you pass the legislation on homelessness in that scenario?
I've had a lot of experience dealing with that. Look, as somebody who's proud Republican who got elected twice in a deep blue city in a deep blue state. Why? Because my philosophy, my governing style is to bring people together on common sense. And even if you disagree with somebody, if you treat people with dignity and respect, and you can go out and win that argument publicly, then you can win the vote.
You are putting out a lot of policies, unlike some other people that are running, and one of them that got the most attention has to do with taxes. We'll put this up on the screen. Your idea is to eliminate the state income tax for individuals making $50,000 or less, households making $100,000 or less. If you do that, what do you cut in order to pay for that?
Well, the fact of the matter is we have a $75 billion budget surplus now. And so what I'm talking about is real, lasting tax relief for the middle class in California who needs it. It's going to make a huge difference. This is not about a one-time stimulus check. This is about real relief for real California families.
And you're confident that the Democratic supermajority is going to pass that plan?
I'm absolutely confident it's the right thing to do. And I'm confident that Democrats, Republicans, and independents believe, like I do, that if we don't lower the cost to actually live in California, we're going to continue to see an exodus of folks who want to stay here, but the policies that are coming out of Sacramento make it you can't afford it.
The governor's team would say that California has among the lowest COVID-19 positivity rates in the country, some of the best economic growth in the country. Does he deserve credit for that?
We all want California to do well. We want our economy to grow. And I think there's a stark difference between my approach, what I did particularly as mayor of San Diego, which is supporting our small businesses, which are the backbone of our economy in California. And I stressed during the pandemic as mayor, we have to save lives. And we also have to save livelihoods. And I think that when you look at the open and close and shutting the changing, the metrics that this governor continue to change, that took a tremendous toll on our family-owned small businesses, many of whom, didn't make it through. And that's where we have to put our focus.
So how do you win this thing? California, still a lot more Democrats than Republicans in this state. Not huge name identification. You're not a well-known celebrity. You don't have, hundreds of millions of dollars of personal wealth to spend on ad campaigns. How do you pull this off?
Doing it just like this. Been talking to folks like yourself and viewers that care about the future direction of our state.
So almost every single time that I tweet about you, or almost any journalist tweets about you, the governor's campaign manager, Ace Smith, tweets out a photo of you and President Trump. This is when you were at the White House doing official business as mayor of San Diego, talking to him about San Diego issues. But clearly, this is the way that the Newsom team is going to go after you. They do it every day. So let's just clear up a few things on the Trump front.
Yeah.
Did you vote for Donald Trump in 2020?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, and I felt strongly about it because of the economy. And, you can put up photos. There's photos of me and President Trump. There's photos of me and President Obama. And as you rightfully point out, my reputation is the guy that actually works, gets stuff done among Democrats and Republicans. And that's why I stress so much that this really isn't about, partisanship. It's about leadership and somebody who can get it done.
After what you saw on January 6th, did you regret supporting President Trump?
No, I supported, and my vote was based upon what I thought was best for the economy, and I think that still holds true today.
And would you say, other people might say, all that other stuff was more important than that? Some of the stuff he said, they call him racist, they call other things.
Yeah, and you're going to have all of the back and forth on the national level every day. I think what Californians are looking for is somebody who can come in and actually solve the issues that we're dealing with, not worrying about national rhetoric, but a guy that actually got it done in the second largest city in this state.
So after what you saw on January 6th, if he ran again in 2024, would you support him?
I have no idea who I'm going to support in 2024. All right. So focused on this race.
Another hypothetical, though, that does matter to folks as they're coming up with the decision. If Dianne Feinstein were to retire next year and you were the governor, the control of the United States Senate would be up to you. If you picked a Republican, Mitch McConnell would become majority leader. If you picked a Democrat, Chuck Schumer stays as majority leader. Who do you pick in that scenario?
Look, a lot of hypotheticals, but I will tell you exactly who I'd pick, with the man or woman who's the most qualified to represent our state. And that's always been my approach as mayor in governing our city. And I think that's what I will look through, as this state, because as you know, when you come in and you're governor, you bring in an administration. And I'm going to bring in some of the best and brightest men and women who want to get our state back on track. Again, who aren't worried about partisanship, but are really worried about making a difference in California.
But you know the party affiliation in the Senate determines control in a lot of different things. What would you say to somebody who says the most qualified person to represent this state that voted for 2 Democratic senators would be a Democrat?
Look, as I said before, my focus is always going to do what I believe is right for California, and I have no doubt that we'll do that.
Okay, we like to play some games on this show.
Yeah.
One's called the name game, which you've played before. This is a short word or very short phrase to describe. These are people that you are running against in the recall election. All right, so first one, Governor Newsom.
Incompetent.
John Cox.
Unwinnable.
Doug Osee.
Really straightforward guy.
And Caitlyn Jenner.
New.
New. Okay. Very nice. We also like to have fun on this show. So I hear that you're a big fan of Van Halen. So we're going to have more with you after this, but we're going to break with a little Panama. This is where you get to rock out. Here we go. And more with Kevin Faulconer when we return. You're watching The Issue Is. I love that. Did you have hair like that?
I had hair.
All right, so this is a picture of our guest, Kevin Faulconer, with his daughter, who just graduated from high school. Congratulations to that. Of course, Kevin Faulconer, former mayor of San Diego, running for governor of California.
Proud papa. There.
Yeah, I mean,
very great day for us.
What did that moment mean for you, and how has it been as a dad and for your family in this extraordinary year when it comes to education?
No, it's an emotional day. I mean, and all of the, because we always, we remember back when we were kids, and what Lauren had to overcome this year in COVID, doing school from the house and the kitchen table, and as I said earlier. There's no substitute for a great teacher in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And so, again, I come to this perspective of education, not just as I said, a candidate, but as a father. And I think so many parents across our great state are so eager for our public schools to be fully reopened, and I will fight for that. All
right. We also like to have a little bit of fun on this show as we get to know our candidates as well. This is a game called Personal Issues. So we put 30 seconds on the clock and we get to know some of your favorites. So here we go. We ready?
Yeah.
Your favorite band?
Van Halen, all time. You just played it.
Yeah. Favorite book?
I don't know if I have one favorite, but I just finished a great biography on Winston Churchill called The Last Line.
Love it. Best thing about being a Californian?
I don't know. Carne asada burrito with extra guac.
Excellent.
And if you're in the right place, margarita with rocks and salt.
What a San Diego answer. Favorite athlete?
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that here in LA?
There's a Padre fan. That's okay. And favorite quote or motto?
I think it's let's roll up our sleeves and get it done.
Yeah. By the way, I got to give San Diego credit. I think you do have the best Mexican food of anywhere, anywhere in California.
No argument here. It's the former mayor.
Yeah. Well, it is great having you.
Thank you.
I think this is a week also that a lot of people are starting to feel better, and some of the COVID restrictions are going away. So as we leave you, we're playing "Happy" by Pharrell.
Very good.
Because I'm ready to clap along and be done with some of this. And having you in person is great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin Faulconer. The team from Politico. When we come back, you're watching The Issue Is. I love those dance moves. Very nice.
The number is 23. Oh, Ventura.
I know I've always wanted to be a game show host. For you, is there part of you that's always wanted to be a game show host? And what is it like being a game show host?
Well, you know what? There's nothing more fun than feeling like you're Oprah. Yeah, $1 million for you, $1 million for you, $1 million for you.
That was Governor Newsom this week. Will our panelists also compare themselves to Oprah during our show this week? We will have to find out. Carla Marinucci and Jeremy B. White co-write the California Politico playbook, which is free to get delivered to your inbox every weekday. If you like this stuff, it is essential reading. I read it every day. Carla, welcome back. And Jeremy, welcome to The Issue Is for the very first time.
Good to be here. I would never dare compare myself to Oprah. I think I'm at least a few tiers below her in the fame hierarchy.
Okay, well, ladies first. Carla, let's start with you. What did you make of Governor Newsom's tour this week, or shall we say the Oprah tour?
Wow. I mean, look, every California governor has a bully pulpit, tries to use it. His bully pulpit is on steroids this week. I mean, it is unlike anything we've seen in the annals of California governors when you've got somebody going the full Hollywood mode. I mean, trolls, superheroes, Transformers, pizza, John Legend. Where do we start? Where do we stop? I mean, Newsom has bragging rights. He's using them in every way, from the vaccines, 40 million vaccines, to the California economy, which is going gangbusters, the best in modern democracy, Bloomberg said this week, to his fundraising, $16.5 million on that against that recall. With the recall looming, Newsom is taking no chances. He's using every tool in that toolbox.
Jeremy, do you think that this is effective politically, to be surrounded by a bunch of minions? I mean, do you think this is good politics?
I don't know about the minions or Optimus Prime. I don't know how many people are going to be moved by Optimus Prime's endorsement. But I think Carla is right. The governor has good news to bring, and he's using every opportunity he has to convey it. A lot of folks kind of rolled their eyes at some of the silliness this week, and I don't think you can hold a press conference with minions and not expect some of that. But clearly the governor is focusing on bringing this positive message of better times are ahead and thinks that's what's going to carry him to victory.
Well, we just talked to one of his lead opponents, Kevin Faulconer. Jeremy, how do you assess where he's at and the challenges that he has?
I think Kevin Faulconer, the former mayor of San Diego, has long been seen as the consensus sort of establishment Republican pick, the one who was able to win in a big, diverse city like San Diego. If you look at the money and the endorsements, certainly the Republican establishment is coalescing around him more so than with the other candidates. But the Republican field is still crowded and pretty unsettled. And I don't think any of them have yet demonstrated that they are in a better position than Governor Newsom.
And Carla, Team Newsom likes to point out his support for President Trump. My guess is that they will point to this moment from our interview. After what you saw on January 6th, did you regret supporting President Trump?
No, I supported, and my vote was based upon what I thought was best for the economy. And I think that still holds true today.
Trump is an albatross around the neck of Faulconer, John Cox, Caitlyn Jenner, Doug Osee, the major Republican candidates. They are still sort of saddled with the issue of Trump, and they're going to continue to be asked about that as this recall goes forward.
Republicans running statewide are in a tough position because this is a state that's become so Democratic. Donald Trump is so toxic, and yet among Republicans remains pretty popular. Millions of them voted for him. So it's tough. There's a narrow path to victory if you're a Republican here.
Yeah. Carla, a few weeks back, we had Caitlyn Jenner on our show. We haven't had a panel since then. What did you make of that interview and her strategy since it?
You know, it's interesting that interview, Elex, I think is the only substantive interview she has done with California media at all. She's going back to National Fox next week. She's been on The View, et cetera. But the fact is, look, Caitlyn Jenner still does not have or shown any evidence that she's done the homework necessary to run for the fifth largest economy, to head the fifth largest economy. She didn't know on your interview the size of the state budget or even the size of the stimulus checks that Gavin Newsom were giving out. It's interesting when you talk about the support she's getting from Republicans or not. Fundraising, that's one of the things she has on her website. The fact is, her family, the Kardashian family, is worth about $2 billion. None of them have written a check toward that campaign. I think that's interesting as well.
All right. We've got more to discuss with our panel when we come back. We're going to talk about the budget. But before we go to break, one cool thing this week, crowds coming back to the late night shows. Here's Stephen Colbert's first night back in his theater. And Jeremy, when we play John Baptiste's song Freedom, this is your chance to dance. So here it is. I'm feeling freedom. Take it away, John.
Just like this. I don't know why, but it feels like freedom.
It's a good head nod.
I hear a song that takes me back, and I let go with so much freedom.
Before we go, we wanted to play this sort of strange moment from covering Governor Newsom at Six Flags this week. He was announcing 50,000 free tickets to Six Flags for 50,000 Californians who get vaccinated. And then this happened. And you a big roller coaster fan?
And I'm a big roller coaster fan, and you're welcome to join us in a moment.
All right, here we go. The governor asked me to go for a ride in my suit, so I sat next to the president of Six Flags, with the governor sitting just a few rows ahead of us. If you look closely, you can see us together in this picture.
You're the only guy who's ever been caught on a roller coaster with a suit and tie. I'm just saying. I mean, that was worth it for all of us.
Yeah.
Just to see that.
Carla, how do you even process a moment like that?
I think Newsom's political career has been a white knuckle roller coaster ride, and you just proved it.
I want to know how your tie stayed put.
All right, we're going to end with there. There's no way to get better than that. Carla, Jeremy, thanks. Thank you for watching The Issue Is. And the spirit of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, we end that ride, our moment of zen, as we fly like an eagle. Watch the loop. Here it comes.